evening, and thank you for joining us for Stories in the News this week on African Free Press Television. I am Momo Basi. After weeks of high-wire politics, the Nigerian Senate has confirmed former Rivers State Governor Chibuike Amaechi as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. PDP senators, however, staged a walkout in process of confirmation of Amaechi. The PDP senators at the Senate had asked the Senate not to confirm Mr. Amaechi until the allegations against him are cleared by the relevant judicial process. The Senate also confirmed 17 other nominees who had gone through a process of scrutiny during the screening process. Senators of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, forced the minister nominee from Cross River State, Pastor Usani Uguru, to apologize on the floor of the Senate on Tuesday as they objected to the comments made by the nominee during the question and answer section. Pastor Uguru had, while responding to questions on whether he had dealings with PDP members, said, "God forbid." Senate Minority Leader Senator Godswill Akpabio immediately raised a point of order to interrupt the pastor's submission. Akpabio had raised Order 14 of the Senate Standing Order 2015 as amended, insisting that privileges of PDP senators had been breached by Uguru's remarks. He said that it was unfortunate that Pastor Uguru could exclaim "God forbid" at the mention of the PDP, adding that there were records to show that the pastor had earlier served as a commissioner in the National Copyright Commission. In the same vein, the Senate had also confirmed all the INEC appointees sent by President Muhammadu Buhari. The INEC appointees confirmed that Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who is now the INEC chairman, while others are the INEC national commissioners, which include Amina Zakari for Jigawa, Dr. Antonia Okosi for Kogi, Baba Afro for Brunu, Dr. Mohammed Mustafa for Edo, and Soyebi Solomon for Ogun State. First to appear before the Senate was Mr. Solomon, who advocated for electronic voting as a means of eliminating errors and overcoming logistic bottlenecks. He expressed the view that the use of card readers must be reviewed for better future use, adding that INEC should train and retrain staff on the use of new technologies introduced by the Commission. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has criticized the recent tribunal judgment on the Rivers State governorship election, accusing the Department of State Services for interference. The spokesman for the PDP said that the outcome of the decision, in view of a rather interesting history of the case, indicated that the Nigerian people and the PDP were victims of the APC-led government. Shortly after the PDP's National Caucus meeting, which ended close to midnight on Thursday, the party's spokesman, Mr. Olisa Metu, in a media briefing stated that there was serious cause for concern in the nation's political environment, especially as it concerns the survival of Nigeria's democracy. Making comments about the walkout staged by the senators of the PDP during the confirmation of the former governor of Rivers State, Mr. Chibuike Amaechi, on Thursday, Mr. Metu said it was a decision that showed that PDP party stands against impunity and corruption. In addition to that, online reporters by the Trends maintained that the presidency had plotted the removal of Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. And online reported that the tribunal judge who annulled Rivers State governorship election held in April, Justice Suleiman Ambrosa from Kaduna State, was said to be in marital union with the younger sister of President Buhari's wife, Aisha Buhari. Moreover, the Court of Appeal has dismissed an appeal filed by the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, challenging his arraignment and trial by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. At the resumed hearing on Friday, the court threw out all 5 issues raised by Senate President before it. 2 judges of the 3-man panel held that the appeal lacked merit. The 3rd judge, however, upheld the appeal on the grounds that the Code of Conduct Tribunal was not a superior court and that the charges before it were not properly filed. But the 3-man panel of judges led by Justice Moore Adumien maintained that the Code of Conduct Tribunal was properly constituted to try the Senate President. Justice Adumien added that the tribunal did not err in law to commence trial against Dr. Saraki with a 2-man panel. Petrol queues may soon reappear across the country as 70% of all marketers in Nigeria have suspended fuel importation over the inability of the federal government to settle about 291 billion naira subsidy arrears. The latest move to suspend fuel importation was disclosed by the former Minister of Interior and Managing Director of Integrated Oil and Gas Limited, Mr. Emmanuel Iheanacho, at the opening of the 2015 Oil Trading and Logistic Downstream Expo in Lagos. The Integrated Oil Board regretted that the inability of governments to settle the subsidy claims when due leads to distortion in business plans, thus fueling a regime of apathy and uncertainty. He said despite an arrangement that subsidy would be settled within 45 days, payment lingered for as long as 6 months, a situation that has led to cutting credit line usually extended to importers by financial institutions. Mobile telecoms provider MTN has complained that the 1.4 trillion naira penalty by the Nigerian Communication Commission (NCC) was too extreme for missing its deadline of disconnecting 5.1 million subscribers who were yet to register their SIM cards. On the other hand, the House of Representatives have also initiated the probing of the 6.1 billion naira budgeted to the NCC to enable compulsory SIM card registration between it and various telecommunications providers. The House of Representatives have asked the NCC to account for the 6.1 billion naira approved for it by the federal government for the subscriber's identity model SIM registration. Former finance minister in Zimbabwe, Tendai Biti, has warned Zimbabweans to brace for a fierce civil war if President Robert Mugabe does not wake up one morning. For the second time this year, the 91-year-old President Mugabe showed signs of weak health as he stumbled backwards while attending the India-African Forum Summit in New Delhi, India. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and presidential aides had to assist Mugabe. A senior health official in Guinea has announced the discovery of 3 new Ebola cases in the western district of Fokaraya. Spokesman for the National Center for the Fight Against Ebola, Fonde Tarsila, said that the 3 were infected from the family of a woman who had died of Ebola and whose body was handled without appropriate protection. The epidemic began when a 2-year-old boy fell ill in a remote Guinea village on December 26, 2013, and now risks dragging into a 3rd year and into 2016. It has killed around 11,300 people out of around 28,500 known cases in Guinea and neighboring Liberia and Sierra Leone, according to World Health Organization figures. Mexican authorities have announced the arrest of top lieutenant Fernando Ramirez Dominguez, who belongs to the drug cartel of international fugitive Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The Juarez district attorney said Fernando Ramirez was accused to have shot dead 5 men this year. Guzman, who is said to be his boss, escaped from federal prison through a tunnel in July 11 this year. According to FIFA President Sepp Blatter, FIFA leaders have struck a secret agreement to award the 2022 World Cup to the United States before the organization even voted. But French President Nicolas Sarkozy and European soccer leaders intervened to blow up the deal. Disclosure has worsened the current corruption scandal in FIFA. The rights to host the 2022 World Cup went to the tiny Emirate of Qatar in the December 2010 vote, a decision that mystified observers at the time as it is at the center of many of the corruption allegations, including a 47-count U.S. indictment against 14 top FIFA and soccer marketing officials. That's all in the news this week. For more, you can log on to our website at www.africanfreepress.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook at African Free Press. Once again, I am Momo Basi. Have a great weekend.